a gag guy, meaning like air rams, ratchets, explosions, fire burns, car gags, car stunts, vehicles, whatever that might be. That's why for me, I personally sought after gags. Like I wanted to do stunts. I wanted to do air rams, which is a device where it's on a compressed air lever. You step on it and it shoots you. It just like basically catapults you forward. So I want to do stuff like that. Ratchets, it's wire work where you're on a line and you see those guys get yanked out of or flying like right on a cable. So stuff like that. Car vehicle work. I really wanted to pursue those things because I wanted to be able to be an all-around stunt guy. Where if you're just really known for one thing or two things, then that really limits your possibilities. That really limits your chances for employment, right? Because you only can do one thing. Where if you could do everything, then you're more versatile for the coordinators, for the directors, right? For production. So that was kind of a wall, a little speed bump that we had to go through. A very good friend of mine, his name's Al Godo, OG stunt coordinator. Shout out Al. He kind of took me under his wing and basically would put my name in or he would get a big stunt, and if he couldn't do it, he would let me do it. And that way I could get experience and get the more of a reputation as doing the stunts. So thankfully I had people like that who were letting me get opportunity to shine, basically, for lack of better words, man. So to do your thing and let people see what you could do, and not just be known as, hey, this guy's just fight guy.
Great. Thank you for that, John.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to apologize to you right now. I just got word by my sound engineer, which is my wife, that YouTube wasn't actually broadcasting since the beginning. And I checked, and I just started our stream, so now we are live. So I'm just going to give them a real quick cliff notes of what's been happening. You are live now with Hbtv, the show. I'm here with my special guest, John Koyama. He's a local guy here in the South Bay. He is an action director, stunt coordinator. He's an actor. Just really quick. Here again in the South Bay, martial arts background. Shout out to the IMB Academy with Guru Dan in the Santo, Guru Bastillo, rest in peace. Again, I'm going to shout out to Freddie Jin, Makuya George, and all those guys, and Makuya Bob, and Makuya Allen and all them. And so we were just talking about the experiences of John Koyama starting from the very beginning and going through now. So we went through a little bit of that. And I'm just trying to give you guys the audience of what's going on. And sorry about that, YouTube. Sometimes with the technical difficulties, this is what happens, right? We're going live. Stuff doesn't work out. But you know what? We're blessed today. We're blessed with the time that Mr. John Koyama has for us to be on the show. And I do apologize to the viewers. Sorry about that. But we're having a great show. We're having a great time with John. He's just going through what he just went through about starting into the business, right? So he went through a couple of that. And now going through some challenges, which you guys probably caught just a little bit. But again, still got a great show, great guests. And now we're just going to be pushing forward again. You guys are watching HBTV, the show, with me, Harry Bulgarian, as your host, and my special guest today, Mr. John Koyama. So John, really quick, we're just going to go ahead and transition. Sorry about that. Sorry about that whole spiel in the beginning right there. But transitioning into, okay, so you got these experiences. You're going through. You've climbed over that hill a little bit. I can't speak for you, but I'm going to assume a little bit about all the challenges and things like that. Now you're getting kind of full steam ahead. Are you putting a team together now, as far as like to help you out with different projects? Like, how is that working for you, moving on from this point?
Yeah. So. As regarding a team, yeah, I do have a team. Well, I'm in a group, a stunt group called Brand X. Shout out Brand X Stunts. Yeah, Brand X Stunts. But I also have a team of guys that work with me on the majority of my projects, and girls for that matter. So yes, I do. Depending upon what the project is and what's needed, I might shuffle some people around here and there, but I stay to a specific core of people that know my style, know my workflow, right? Because it's tough. Once you start a project, it's like you hit the ground running. So there's no time to really teach and say, hey, look, this is how I do things. This is how, like, I just need people that have been there with me throughout the years, so we can just hit the ground and go. But speaking
about projects, I'm sorry. So speaking about projects, and I know, your opportunity with this has brought you to different places, different parts of the world. Can you just, off the top of your head, and people can Google your stuff, right? But off the top of your head, do you have anything that's like, stands out in your head, some significant projects that you worked on that you can tell us and how that went for you?
Yeah. There's a bunch, man, for different reasons, obviously, but projects like I was talking to you about earlier, Perfect Weapon, way back when, that stands out because that was my chance. That was my opportunity in the business. That was my first show. I got my Screen Actors Guild card, my union card on that. I got to meet all the OGs in the business. So I remember that one because that one is the one that gave me the bug to pursue like this business. So that was special to me. Right after that, I got a show called Rising Sun with Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery. It was dope. And that meant a lot to me because that was the first time I got on a show where it was a long run, we call it, like, 3-4 months straight of working and, with legends, man, like, Snipes and Sean Connery. And, and once again, with OGs, Asian Pacific Islander, Jeff Amata and, that whole clique and that whole crew was dope as well. And, specifically shows that meant a lot to me. Like I worked on a show called Hannah with Saoirse Ronan and Cate Blanchett and Eric Bana. That was a special show to me because it was all European. We did it. I started in Ireland and went to London, back to Ireland, went all up and down Germany, went to, we went all over the place, man. We went to Finland, where I got to, this is dope, like things like that. Like, and we ended. So the thing is, in Finland, we started shooting in Finland. It was minus like 25 degrees. And it was literally freezing to the point where it started freezing our cameras and we had to stop shooting. It was so cold. And then we ended the show. We went all around Europe, but we ended the show in Morocco, and it was 125 degrees. Oh. So packing for that was, it was like, I'm packing for like the ultimate cold, which I didn't pack enough. And they ended like all of us, like there was a couple of us from the States that went. I went and bought all this snow gear. And when I landed, they told me, the people from Finland were like, that's not going to cut it at all. That's not even close to what you need. They had these suits, like jumpsuits for us that had heaters inside of them.
Wow.
That we had to wear, or else we just freeze. And it was crazy. It was I've never been in that kind of extremes on one show and seen that many different countries and stuff. So that was special to me because I'd have never had the chance. I wouldn't have the chance to see Finland. I would never have the chance to see Morocco, and really, get it when we shoot. As you know, we get to go to places in those countries and states and towns, villages, cities that are not accessible to the public necessarily. So we get to go some places that are really extreme. My buddy and I, we took on a weekend, we met this mountain man in Finland, no joke. And he owned sleds and dogs.
Iditarods, right?
Yeah. So he took us on a dog sled deal. It was like 25 kilometers, and we got all the way to the Russian border, and in like, like in crazy, like, I don't even know, 10, 12 feet of snow. Like, it was just white. Everything was white, and he had a teepee up there. When we got to the top, he made like deer meat and bear meat and stuff. We ate. It was crazy, and then we came back down. But we're like dog sledding, man. Like, it was crazy. Like, stuff like that is special. Like, it's not just about the work, right? Yeah. It's about the journey. It's about the experience, man. You gotta soak it all up, man. It was dope. And then there's, of course, huge shows that like I was blessed to be able to work on. the Lethal Weapons and the Pirates of the Caribbeans.
Oh, wow.
I got to do those, and just shows like that are just epic shows. Or meeting certain people, like I got to work on Replacement Killers and Corruptor, so I got to work with Chow Yun-Fat, who was one of my idols.
Sweet.
Like growing up, as all the John Woo stuff, Killer and
Killer,
Hard Boiled, it's just stuff like that is just thinking back, it's been a super fortunate, super blessed, lucky, and just all those things. I don't even know, like I'm trying to think of other things. Like it's crazy. I don't want to. It's hard just talking about this, but certain things were really special. Like a buddy of mine, Damon Caro, shout out Damon, who does he's the coordinator and second unit director for all the DC stuff.
Oh wow.
Zack Snyder. Yeah, so he working on those shows with him has been amazing. Man of Steel, Batman, Superman, Justice League, stuff like that has been, shows that are that big. You see, you're like, wow, this is a huge film. This is a huge project, and seeing that kind of scope is really cool. And all the way down to indie films, man. I worked on Days of Summer, of all things, man. Like things like that are like a few $1 million, but it's real special. It's just different, right?
So going to the action director and the stunt coordinator portion of your skill set and your jobs, right? So I see it as a form of art. Again, you're doing the martial arts, of course, but when you put all this stuff together, right? Like I know it's not like, all right, you're just gonna kick here, you're gonna go ahead and throw a punch, and you're gonna fall here, right? I mean, anybody can do that, but however, like, how do you put things together, man, to make it look that dope, like on the screen? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that come about? Like, do you get it in your head? What inspires you? I mean, do you see just something like flying in the air and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what's going to do it, right? And then you put it on paper, you put it on cells. Like, what is that process? And, how does that inspire you to make the next great action, scene, with these actors and actresses?
Yeah, it's that's what's dope about what we do. It's such a collaborative process, So breaking it down real quick, what happens is, like, I'll be on a show, like I'm on one right now, where you get the script, first of all, right? You read that. You see what action sequence that is in the script, or action sequences or stunts, whatever it is, that's in there. So you pull this one sequence out, right? And you're like, okay, so this is what they want. This is what's written. So from that, I take that, pull that out, and start getting thoughts in my head, and kind of laying out, a beginning, middle, end of that sequence, right? And then I check back, with the writers, with the director, with the showrunners and the producers, and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Excuse me, am I going down the right path, first of all? And if I am, then I bring it to my team. And I say, hey, look, this is what we're gonna do. This is kind of the idea I have, the bones of it, the blueprint. And then we just start collaborating right there. We start going through the choreo. There's certain but you always have to take into account. For me, I really like getting into the tone of the story. I really like to get into the characters of the story, the full arc of it, right? And because you can't just make, like, if you had a script or you had a story, Harry, and all of a sudden you say, hey, this action, shootout fight is in it, but I make it like, but let's say your story is like, it's gangster. It's like LA, streets of LA, blah, 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 Training Day style. And then I decide in my head, I want to do, Crouching Tiger, Flying, Hidden Dragon, and a bunch of Hong Kong wire work. It's like, that doesn't match, and that doesn't make no sense, right? It has to fit within your story, right? So to me, when you make an action sequence, it has to be able to, I like to be able to take that action sequence out, and you could stand that alone and watch it and go, wow, that's dope. There's a story, that's a full story right there. Mm-hmm. That, you watch that, and that tells its own story, but that has to fit in to the big picture, and have that flow within that script, within that show.
So
right?
I'm glad you said that because about the flow and having the fit, and you made that example. So how much like research do you have to do and like pull into other resources within that team? If they have like a research and development team, you tap into there, or are you and your team actually doing some research for yourself to make things fit as well?
Both, both. There's certain projects you work on that have an established fan base already.
Mm.
Like I did Preacher, the show Preacher for the past 4 years for Sony AMC, but Preacher, that's a graphic novel comic from Garth Ennis and them, and so they already have their fan base. They already have an expectation. They already have a storyline, right? So we take that, and I read all the graphic novels, and then kind of the scripts would come in off of that, right? And they would, some things would stay pretty consistent, some things would change a little bit, whatever. Creatively, some creative, freedoms would happen, right? So I would kind of combine both, because you want to stay within the genre, you want to stay within the consistency of the graphic novel, but at the same time, you're doing the script, because that's what's going to be put on screen.
Awesome.
So yeah, so with us, like our team, we just start collaborating, and we literally, it's like we just R&D it. We just start saying, just literally just start saying, okay, here we go. Let's just start jumping into it.
So really quick, John, we got some guys giving a shout out to. We got Miss Teresa Bello says hello, John, and
Hello.
we got our friend Michael Fajardo.
Hey.
Thank you, Fajardo. Thank you, Mike. For hooking
Mike,
John and us up.
Yep.
And again, you guys are watching Hbtv, the show. Your host Harry Bulgarian and my very special guest today, Mr. John Koyama, and we're just having a great time here, and we're just talking about his journey and his experiences in his industry and what he does. So, John, tell me this, all right? Mm-hmm. Working with all the actors that you work with, right? Is that an easy thing? You know what I mean? Only because I asked you, right? So I used to be, I was a basketball coach for 13 years, and I worked in Hollywood, as I told you, right?
Yeah.
101 in Sunset, Bernstein High School. Shout out to them. But anyways, they used to film like Community, and they used to have Glee on there, and rest in peace. I believe his name was Corey, tall gentleman, one of the lead guys on Glee. And there was a basketball scene in my gym, right? And he comes out, he's talking with one of my other coaches who brought his team to be extras there, from Harbor Junior College, Coach David March. Anyways, the main character comes out and he's dribbling a ball. He's about like 6'4". You would think, look at him, he could dribble the ball, right?
Right.
But he needed some help on dribbling the ball, right? So when I see these action scenes, right, we can go far, to Jim Cotta, or we can go back all the way down to, some other action film. Like we were watching Three Ninjas with my kids 2 days ago.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I forgot the gentleman's name, the grandpa on there. He was on Big Trouble in Little China, as the wizard, and this guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was pretty nimble for an older gentleman. But like when you see some of these actors, like on Romeo Must Die, DMX, he was okay, you know what I mean? But like, how do you work with these guys? And is it you enjoy that? Is it cool? You know what I mean? Like, do you have a great time? Is it pretty fun and funny? Trying to get these guys going to do exactly what you're trying to do and what you envision them to do.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Loaded question.
Absolutely. But, not to put you on the spot, but yeah.
To be honest with you, man, I've been super fortunate, man.
Okay.
Without trying to sound like I'm blowing gas here.
Yeah.
Like gassing myself up, but I've been super fortunate, man. I've worked with a lot of guys and girls that were pretty talented, right, coordinated and talented, whether they came into the business, and I'm talking actors, I'm not talking, stunt people are already, talented, and they already know, they're in it because they came in from like XMA, or they came in from like extreme skiing, snowboarding, or they came in from bull riding, or they're the best of what they came in from anyway. So I'm not talking about them, I'm talking about the actors specifically. Some of the actors already had training, man. I've worked with actors that are like, blue belts in BJJ, like legit, and have hands. We're boxers growing up, so that's a blessing. Girls as well, female actresses as well, like ex-gymnastics, cheerleaders or dancers. A lot of them are dancers. So they have, like, they can get choreo because they can remember, and they know beats, they know timing, which is huge, right? It's not just about throwing things and throwing kicks and, whipping a stick around or, throwing hands. It's like, it's the field, it's, knowing camera, where you're at, timing, beats and stuff, right? So a lot of, I've been fortunate, a lot of them have had some background and are coordinated and are talented. But there are, then there's some that aren't, and it's been, it's been challenging. Either way, it's challenging, but
yeah.
And very little, like, I really honestly say that very little have I had the combination where a person, an actor wasn't very coordinated, didn't have any background, but also didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And didn't have the right attitude or just wasn't interested, right? It's pretty rare. I mean, literally, I could count maybe one or two at the max, because the people that I've worked with, say, like my last show, Preacher, like I was talking to you about, Dominic Cooper, shout out Dom, Ruth Nega, shout out Ruth, who, she was up for Academy Award for Loving, fantastic actress. Joe Gilgun, awesome, like, Irish dude that's crazy as hell, but he's got the energy. Very different cast members. Julie Ann Emery, super dope. Like, these people came in, they didn't have a ton of background as far as fights, and they had to do a ton of fights in this show, and wire work as well, and their own stunts once in a while. And none of them really had that kind of background because they're very traditional. Like, their projects before, very traditional, like dramas and acting. So action wasn't a huge thing for them before, but all of them were, down to learn, wanted to do it, wanted to train, super dedicated, really dope. So I was very fortunate, man. And, they'd come in and want to train and learn what they had to do, and wanted to do most of it all themselves.
Yeah.
Up to the point where, if they got kicked back into a wall, of course, they're not going to do something like that. But all the beats, all the choreo, they all wanted to do themselves. So even like that type of thing is really encouraging for me. I really, it inspires you, it keeps you going.
For sure.
It's challenging, right? It's also the challenge is to work on this one fight for a really long time with them. And the first day, it's literally bad, and it's a struggle. Then get all the way to the day we're going to shoot it, and they're out there, in front of the bright lights, and the pressure's on the actors, and they kill it. And we're high-fiving, dapping, going crazy after, because, and it's dope, man. It's really cool to see that dedication and hard work dedication. Shout out Money Mayweather. But hard work dedication, and get fulfilled.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And no knock on those actors and actresses, DMX, no knock on you. I just needed to use. I was just trying to make an example, and John, not to, didn't mean to paint you in a corner or anything like that. Just wanted to ask that question. But yeah, I mean, you bring that up. You bring up like some of the people that you did work with, and from back, and what comes to mind for me as the experience, right, with the hands and the kicking and all that, it would be the Wesley Snipes, and you worked with Mel Gibson and some of those guys as well. So. But it does amaze me, like the films that are coming out and the shows that you see on Netflix and Prime, like Hannah, like seeing younger people getting into it and doing that. You see Warrior, right, with the Bruce Lee philosophies, those fight scenes, and Into the Badlands as well. A lot of wire work and things like that. Yeah. It's just amazing to me, and it's great. Also, the John Wick, trilogy is about to be the number 4. So. It just seems like you guys keep on upping you guys' game, you know what I mean? It makes it more amazing. It makes it seem. Just a couple more questions before we go, though. Like, as far as like keeping your skills sharper, right? Like, and you talk about collaboration. Do you still go out and find yourself reaching out to other gurus or senseis, professors and things like that to do like different workshops to say like, hey man, what else can we, can you show us with this, whether with the weapons, ground techniques, you know what I mean, striking and things like that. Is that something that you and your team continually do to keep, iron sharpens iron, right? So is that something you guys continually do?
Yeah, we do. We obviously we're so busy,
Hmm.
and unfortunately, 90% of the shows that we do are out of Los Angeles, even out of the country. Like last year, I was in Melbourne for 8 months,
Hmm.
Australia, doing the show. So we're gone a lot, and then right after that, we were, we had to go to New Orleans. So we're gone a lot. Like this, come in a couple months, I'll have to go to Toronto
Hmm.
for 8 months. So it's hard to get like, because once you come home, for me, I have a family. So once I come home, I want to, spend my time with my family. I have I'm sitting in my gym, as a matter of fact. My God. So my heavy bag right there.
Yeah.
We train with each other as we work because we're on the road. You know what I mean? But when I come home, yes, I like to get with some friends and stuff and keep training. So yeah, the answer is yes. Like we definitely keep training and keep sharp with everything. But it's a combination of doing that on your own, but also on the job, because it is our job, which we're fortunate in that where we're together as a team. My team is made up of, like, they're super talented, all, whether they're ex-gymnasts, fighters, all this stuff in different areas too, and different martial arts styles and stuff. So we kind of practice with each other, and as we choreograph or as we're training or as we're, working, we're doing that at the same time. So yeah, one kind of rolls into the other, which is really cool. By the way, shout out my girl. She's like my little sister, Shannon Lee, Warrior, Bruce Lee's daughter. Yes, shout out Shannon. Definitely, man. I was just texting her this morning, as a matter of fact. But
Oh, did you?
you mentioned Warrior, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I tagged her. I tagged her on the Instagram, man. So hopefully she's
Oh
tuning in
no, no,
and
no.
she's watching.
Yes,
Shout
yes,
out,
yes,
Shannon Lee. Thank you
yes,
if you are watching. If you watch the recorded version, thank you for taking the time with your eyes and ears. And I did get that book. I don't know if you saw
yes,
that I got it. You're the
yes,
one who told me about that, John. I
yes,
went out and got it. Been
yes.
reading it. Thank you, Shannon, for your thoughts and expressing everything in that book as well. I'm still reading it, and I recommend that book to all our viewers and everybody following. So just a couple more
Yeah.
questions, John. I don't want to take too much of your time. I know it's a Sunday, it's family day, and all that good stuff.
Oh,
But
good.
just looking back through all your
They're all, they're
experiences.
all sleeping anyways, man. I got teenagers, bro.
Look, looking back to your experiences, right? And
Most Fajardo knows.
yeah,
He actually had them all.
is that? Oh, that's dope.
He did. He did.
So looking back to all your experiences, right, and just getting into this, you're seeing how the landscape has changed. From the early '90s until now, it's 2020. You probably see a lot of younger folks, men and women, young adults as well, like I can say high school, who want to get into the action, industry as far as being stunt coordinators, being a stunt man or woman. What messages can you possibly give? Any messages and like advice to that person, to that individual who would be watching this? Who either watching now or the millions that will be watching this later, who might be inspired by your story. You know what I mean? Like, what would you tell that person if you just saw them? You know what I mean? Just you just saw them at the bus stop, at the park, whatever, and you just happen to have that conversation. What message would you give?
Yeah, I mean, you get asked that quite a bit, right?
Mm.
Because let's be honest, man. Like, being in the entertainment industry in itself is dope, right? Like, whatever you're doing, whether you're in the film business or your TV or you're in the music business, whatever it is, man. Entertainment is a dope field, like all the way around, because you get to create and you get to collaborate, and there's the art side. It's you get to create art, man. Is what you get to do. It's really dope. So as far as my side of it, my advice, if you want to be a stunt person, fight coordinator, stunt coordinator, action director, whatever that goal may be, is to just, if you really want to be it, then you need to put everything you have really into it, right? Just like anything else. You got to hone your craft, know your craft. You have to be well-rounded. Like you have to be really knowledgeable, and I mean from the point where you train. Like first of all, you need to train. You got to be in shape. You have to train. You should know some skills. You should have some skill set, right? Just like anything, you can't come to the table with just a big fork. You got to bring some food, bro, like to the table. You know what I mean? Like you can't just gonna eat. You got to bring something to the table to offer. Um, so train, be perseverance, man, be dedicated, you know, and it's weird, man. Like you'll get some opportunities, you know, along the way. You just have to be ready. Like anything else, man. You got to be ready for your opportunities and take those. Um, you know, just and be respectful. You know, be a nice person, man. Because like once you get going, right? Once you get going in our business, like we always tell each other, the easiest and new people that come in, we're like, dude, it's not that hard, right? Just know your craft, right? Be good at what you do, and for lack of better words, man, and don't be an asshole. That's it. Okay, don't, like seriously, don't be, like know your craft, like be good at what you do and don't be an asshole, and you're gonna be all right. And just persevere. There's gonna be ups and downs. There's no question about it. Like you're not gonna come in and just all of a sudden like shoot to the top and be, you know, the it thing. It just doesn't happen, right? Don't expect that. Expect a grind. It's gonna be a grind, and that's it. But in the end, that makes it all worth it, anyways. You know what I mean? Like it's the journey, man, that you remember. It's not like even for me, I just remember all the tough times, all the grind, right? And still yet, I grind every day.
Yeah.
You know, I coordinate now, you know, I direct now, but even so, I grind every day, man. I'm either researching or I'm training or, you know, just grinding every day. You got to stay on it.
Let me ask you, John. You talked about this. You know, you're fortunate this is your job. Is it still fun? Is it still like
Yeah.
you still get that fire? You know what I mean? Meaning
Yeah,
it's not a job. This is fun. This is fun for you. Like, do you still get that feeling from from back in 95, 96? You know?
Oh yeah, there's no question about it, man. Like you were saying, like I know we weren't on you know, on up yet when we were talking about it early, but going back to like, you know, like you're saying, like I look back to the early 90s shows like Rising Sun, where it was one of my first shows ever in, you know, I was so excited, you know, so like, wow, man, there's Wesley Snipes in front of me and Sean Connery, man, I was tripping, you know, and like, you know, it was just wild to think that, and all the OGs that were on that show as well. And then come all the way to like midpoint, you know, I did Last Samurai with Cruise, and played a cool part in that, got my head chopped off and added, like it was dope. Even that, it was like midpoint, but still I was so like, man, this is so dope. You know, you get to meet like OGs in the game, like Hiroyuki Sanada, Ken Watanabe, you know, Cruz, all those cats, and that whole production was so unreal. And even the DP, shout out John Toll, like Academy Award, like even guys like that, I just gained knowledge and insight, advice from just not stunts, like just not actors, you know, from the directors, from the director of photography, from the grip, from the electrician to the, you know, everybody, man. Like you just got to be open, like Bruce, you know, says, like you know, you just be like water, man, and you got to be humble, like Guru Dan, like he's the man, like he's, you know, he is the Godfather, man, and he still like always learns every day, you know, and he's so humble, you know, and you got to always be open and think like you don't know everything. You know, as soon as you think you can't learn, then to me you're dead.
Yeah.
You got to keep learning. You got to keep, you know, gaining knowledge and grinding and stuff. That's part of it. So yeah, absolutely. Even now, like the project I'm about to start, I'm working on a project right now. I can't really talk about it. It's super secret, but you know, it's not. It's a show that I grew up without giving out too much, but you know, it's a huge film series from the 70s even. And now it's you know, it's on Disney Plus, and you probably could guess it already. But you know, I was a kid, man, and I stood blind like all day to go see the opening of this film at, you know, on Hollywood Boulevard at the Grauman's Chinese, right, with my pops.
Yeah. And
to come full circle and be able to work on the show, you know, and that's right now. That's like I have to go to work tomorrow on that show, and that I'm excited like a kid. You know, I'm like, man, I'm seeing these holding these weapons. You know, like wow, like I'm tripping seeing these
Yeah.
helmets. You know, I'm like, whoa, I'm tripping, right? Like I remember when I was a kid. You know, so yeah, I'm so excited. I still get the bug, man. I'm still hungry. The challenges are a little different now, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're talking about. It's keeping the
Yeah.
leveling up, you know. And it's cool to see things like you know, like my buddy Damon Caro. You know, shout out Damon and his DC universe, and you know all the amazing stuff that cat does. Who, by the way, he's another guy from the Guru Dan Minnesota Academy, right? That so shout out Damon, and you know I see his stuff. That's inspiring. That you gotta always level up, right? You always gotta, you know, it's cool. You can get driven that way. So yeah.
So, I mean, you know, you talk about the OGs and paving the way for you, but you know, in reality, as well as I'm seeing and having you on the show and talking about your journey as well. You know, thank you for your time, for you paving the way. You know, for the up and comers as well. You know, just hearing your story, and I think that's great, and you know, that's very inspiring, and that's a blessing as well. So thank you, John, for your time with this and putting your expertise and your talents in it as well. So, you know, if Brand X, you know, ever comes with a contract with, you know, Matrix 6, and you guys need somebody just to fall someplace, I'm your guy. My opportunity is open all the time. You give me that call, John, and I'm there. I'll walk down the hallway, get tripped up. I can do that. I'm skilled in that. Thank you for your time, John. Seriously, man. Thank you for your time. Blessings. Do appreciate it. Off the top of your head, before I let you go and to enjoy the rest of your weekend this Sunday, this beautiful Sunday, any other messages off the top of your head you want to, you know, give out to our audience? Give any shout outs to everybody? Hey, shout out to Steve Levesque, you know, for letting me know about you. So, but yeah, anything off the top of your head before I let you go?
No, man, just, you know, stay on your grind out there, man. You know, it like I didn't have any real ends on what I did, and you know, so it's a dream that I wanted and you know, just wanted to do, and you just got to persevere, man. But you got to be hungry. Stay hungry, man. Stay on your grind and get out there and you know what's you know what you got nothing to lose, everything to gain. You really do. So good luck to everyone out there, man, and thank you for having me, Harry. I appreciate it. It was fun, and hope to see you down the line. And definitely, man, definitely gonna get you on one of the shows.
Exactly, John. Thank you. You have a blessed day. Right. Take care out there. Be safe. You know what I'm saying, and you know, love to the family. Mahalos, man. I appreciate your time, brother. Man. Thank you. Have a good day. Have a good day.
You guys.
All right, so that was our special guest today, right? That was our special guest, Mr. John Koyama. I do apologize for not being able to go live on the stream in the very beginning, but you know, we did catch up. We did get a chance to catch him at least, I don't know, 25 or 20 minutes in. So John Koyama, action director, stunt coordinator, and actor. Been in a lot of shows, a lot of programs, a lot of movies. Check him out. Google him. We'll reach out to him sometime in the future to see if he'll come back to give like a status or like, you know, what's been going on in the next couple, maybe in the year or so. I'll reach out to him. But it was great to have him on the show. And thank you guys for tuning in. Again, apologize for that technical difficulty in the beginning. But join us again next week. I usually go on Sundays. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, share, hit that little bell on the channel. Next week at 6 p.m. I believe I have that's when the show will go on. And if you guys want to tune in on Wednesday, I do have a show called Inside the Playbook with. I bring on, you know, coaches and, you know, former players of whatever sports. But this special guest will be the head coach from Bishop Montgomery High School for the girls varsity team, Coach Noelle Quinn. So that's going to be a good episode, a great one as well. On Wednesday, we're going to do that. So you guys stay blessed, take care, and have a great work week. Until next time.